Hello and welcome to a look at Mario Bros. For the Commodore 64, a Nintendo arcade original that was converted by Ocean and Atari. Technically I should say Atari and Ocean because the Atari conversion was released first, but irrelevant. What is relevant is the fact that yes, I have managed to find yet another game where there exists two conversions of the same arcade original. The plot is going to be the same for the two conversions, so I will give you the plot, because this game has a plot. Of course it has a plot. What else would it have? And not plot. Impossible. Anyway, the carpenter Mario decided that carpentry is for other people, so he decided to become a plumber instead. And, of course, being a plumber, one of the jobs you get is from time to time to clean pipes. But unfortunately for Mario, the pipes are not filled with dirt and grime, but with creatures of various different types. And because all the creatures are of a similar size to Mario himself, he can't just shoot them away or go and say, "Can you please leave?" because we don't really care. So, more aggressive means has to be taken, or has to be used even, and in order to get rid of said creatures, Mario has to headbutt the platform they are currently running on in order to flick them on their back, and then he can run over to them and kick them off the screen. Which is a gentle little cute thing to do, I suppose. Later on he will be facing other creatures like crabs, which requires 2 knocks before they are knocked silly, and can therefore be kicked off the screen. The bottom middle of the screen there is a POW thing that you can headbutt a few times before it disappears, and it closes all enemies which are currently on a platform. It is very, very important to notice that, because if they are in the process of falling, they will not be affected by it. To be knocked on their back, or in case of crabs, where you knock them into getting angry. And then, of course, use that method to easily get rid of certain of the enemies. Beyond that, it's basically just rinse and repeat. Get rid of the enemies, go to the next screen. Every so often a bonus level will appear where you can pick up coins for some bonus points, and yeah, rinse and repeat effectively. But, of course, as I was saying, 2 conversions were done, and it is time to switch over to the Atari conversion. For reference, the Ocean conversion was released in 1987, but the Atari conversion was released in 1984. And gameplay-wise, the 2 games are identical. But from a technical point of view, the Commodore 64 version is close-ish to the arcade original. I played the arcade original once or twice many years ago, so my recollection of the graphics of the arcade original is somewhat vague. But the graphics are serviceable in the Ocean conversion. It looks a bit faded to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But the pacing of the graphics is quite fast. The Atari conversion looks closer to the arcade original, as far as I can remember at least. And the pacing is significantly more gentle than it is in the Ocean conversion. The sound effects, and that applies to both conversions, are likely inspired by the arcade original, and of course the arcade original was from 1983, so you can only expect so much in the sound department, and the sound effects are serviceable, but I do find them slightly annoying after a while. The music for the Commodore 64 version is inspired by the arcade original, which was a rendition of Eine kleine Nachtmusik. And certain people seem to really dislike it, but I find it perfectly acceptable. The music in the Atari conversion is mainly jingles between levels, and they are not particularly special, but again, entirely serviceable. And for a conversion that was released in 1984, it would have been something not necessarily common. The controls in the Ocean conversion, when you move left, Mario will start accelerating, and he will keep doing that to a certain point, and then you have to move right in order to slow him down, and then hold the controls right in order to get him to turn around and run the other way. Whereas in the Atari conversion, if you move left, Mario will move left, and he will stop when you let go of the joystick, meaning that the control is significantly more tight on the Atari conversion. And certain individuals have claimed that the Ocean conversion should be called Mario on Ice instead, which, from a control point of view, feels somewhat appropriate. It unfortunately makes the controls unpleasantly inaccurate in the Ocean conversion, because while you're at speed, you need to make precision jumps, and yeah, the controls are just wonky. Significantly more tight in the Atari conversion and significantly more enjoyable to make use of. The gameplay is simple. You have one screen with various different enemies that you need to knock out, and then it's just a question of getting as many points as you possibly can. But of course, the uniqueness of this particular title is the fact that you can play it 2 players simultaneously or simultaneously. And you can decide to cooperate or knock each other into enemies and have fun annoying each other while playing, if that is what you desire. An interesting bit of information is the fact that for this game, Nintendo needed someone to play alongside Mario, so they decided that why not introduce his brother, which has not at that point been introduced before, called Luigi. Apparently a name that was borrowed off a pizzeria that was close to Nintendo's Washington headquarters at the time, which is a cute little thing. But Mario, of course, became the mascot of Nintendo, and I think it's fair to say that Nintendo has been doing quite well with that character ever since. As a home computer user, I always scoffed a bit at consoles back in the day until I actually bought one myself and found out that the games are fairly enjoyable. I was more a Sega person than a Nintendo person, but after having some commercially not successful consoles, Sega of course pulled out of the console market, whereas Nintendo kept going. And one thing that's always impressed me by Nintendo is the fact that they've never been goaded into upping their hardware based on the competition. I think it's fair to say that Nintendo's consoles compared to the upmarket ones are somewhat more moderate in performance and power. But they release some incredibly enjoyable games despite that fact. And the fact, of course, that their consoles in general are built for being used by entire families together. A lot of multiplayer gaming today, of course, is done online, where you're playing with other people, but you're still playing by yourself. But Nintendo have always managed to retain that sense of playing together with other people in the same room, using the same console. And I can only applaud them for sticking to their guns and keeping things the way they want to run them. All in all, if you want to play this game, the Atari version is by far the better version. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.